remember and review what I was thinking compared to what actually happened. And I do that so that I can learn from my mistakes, trust in my plan more, and then move forward and hopefully become a better investor. Hey guys, welcome back to today's video on my channel here on YouTube, Jason Pizzino. Today's video is an investment vlog regarding Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and how I can be wrong, and you can too, but still make money in the markets. Now, none of this information is new. It's just the way that I have implemented it from learning about it from other people. And then hopefully I can share the information with you, and you can implement it yourself too, or if you already do it, obviously let me know down below. So it's how I was wrong. I've been wrong at each of the tops coming up here in Bitcoin. So we're talking about from the bottom where we're looking at 3,100, and you basically have to be a bit familiar with the chart here. The levels that we've seen resistance, and pretty much hear from everyone on YouTube and Twitter calling for different tops. 4,200 we had resistance, 5,400 we had resistance, looking for resistance at 6,000, then somewhere in the 7,000, and then the 8,000, then the 9,000. So every one of those points there was someone calling for a top to come in, looking for a retracement, like a pullback, a correction, so that we could enter another position and then keep riding the wave up. So at each of those points, I thought they were the top, the 5,400, the 6,000, the 7, the 8, the 9, all of these things I thought were the top. And had I waited for a correction, I would have missed the move from 4,200, essentially when the breakout happened in April, up until the point where we just saw up to 9,000. So that's the first thing. That's how I was wrong. Bitcoin's been rejected at 9,000. From what it looks like maybe we'll finally get this correction that we've been waiting for. And then the strategy that I've implemented after being wrong is pretty basic. It's just dollar cost averaging. You've heard about it before. So many people do it, or at least talk about doing it on YouTube. And really, like I said, this is an investment vlog. It's following my journey, and hopefully some of yours, if I can read them in the comments down below, as to how I've invested and been wrong, and then still being able to profit from those mistakes. So essentially they were mistakes in theory, but fortunately my practice kept me on the right side of the market. There were higher highs, higher lows, meaning the market's correcting and it's going up. Small corrections, not as big as what we once thought, what we think at the time, but at least my plan said, every week on this day, invest this amount of money. Now, I didn't follow it exactly to the date and the time and the exact amount, but I had an amount put aside and I had an approximate date. So what I've got in my phone, I've got a regular occurrence on Tuesdays to invest. So, to put the dollar cost averaging amount in. And if I see the chart and I'm looking at it like, oh, look, today was a pretty big up day, I still invest, but I don't put the huge amount in. So like the amount that I have allocated for it, because I'm waiting for the market just to come back a little bit towards me so I can put money in then and then take off. So if I've seen a big up or a few days towards the end of that first cycle, say we're looking in April when we saw Bitcoin break out from 42 into around 5,400, which was the top, I waited for it to pull back a bit, and then we could keep seeing that the lows were getting higher. So if you're following, it sort of dropped back down quickly to 48, 5 grand, and it just kept getting a little bit higher. The next low was around 5,000, then 51, then 52, and then before we broke again up to around 6. So that was one of the weeks that I had to put some investment in, some more funds, because it related to my dollar cost averaging plan. So had I continued to wait, because I was pretty hopeful that we would see a pullback and retest of that 4,200 level, I would have missed the move from 52 to what we're at now. Maybe I think it's dropped back to about 8,200 now since the top at 9. So from 52 to 82, 3 grand, what is that? Maybe a 60% increase from that point. So although I didn't stick to it 100% and put the full amount in, so for example, if it was the week that you're investing $1,000 for round numbers, and you had to put it into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Let's just take the top 4 because again, it's easy numbers. $250 in each. That was the $1,000 allocated for the week. Instead of doing that, I say, okay, I'm going to put in 150 or $200 in each. I just wanted to keep that little bit aside for potentially the next day when it dropped a bit further, or the next week, put a bit more in. So there are the little things that I do that sort of don't go exactly to my plan, but I make sure I follow the rules, the fundamental rules. Invest on this day an amount. So that kind of just keeps me a little bit happy when I think the market's a bit too hot, so I can put a little bit more in the following day, like I said, the following week. Having seen the market increase from that point, I'm very glad that I did put it in at those levels, at the 5,000, and then the next week it was still hanging around that area, and then the next week was probably like 54, 5,600. So all of those things have helped me get to the point of just following like a more mechanical plan, and then learning about how my emotions affect my trading. So I can basically review how I'm feeling about the market at the time, but then I can just put that aside, write it down, remember and review what I was thinking compared to what actually happened. And I do that so that I can learn from my mistakes, trust in my plan more, and then move forward and hopefully become a better investor. It's such an easy thing, and we've heard it many times before, dollar cost averaging in. Don't day trade if you've never traded before. It's so easy just to lose money in that way. And really the game's about the long term. You want to stay in this as long as possible so you can get as much experience as possible. It's kind of like, say, training. Like, I love to exercise in the gym. If you're going to go flat out in your first session, back from never training before, or you hadn't trained, exercised, gym, workout, you haven't trained for 5 years, 10 years, and you go flat out, you're going to kill yourself, and you're probably not going to be back in the gym for weeks, months, until all of your injuries have recovered. So that's how I like to relate that to trading. You've got to be doing it consistently, basically consistently, every day or every week, as we're talking about with trading. Sorry, those two words are a bit, sound very similar when I'm speaking them in my Australian accent. I'll use workout. So with your workouts, you need to space them out. Give yourself just enough time to recover. For trading, give yourself just enough time to make that little bit more money, or find that little bit more money that you need to put it into your dollar cost averaging. So it's about the long game. I want to learn as much as I can and be as good as I can in the long term. So that's my way, and I'm probably going to refer back to this multiple times throughout this Bitcoin cryptocurrency bull market, and just see how I'm progressing, and hopefully you can follow along as well and leave your comments and updates down below and see how you're dollar cost averaging, or if you've got another strategy that you think works a lot better to combat your emotional investment ideas, the way you emotionally invest, and how you can then work those together, working cohesively with your, say more like your mechanical trading plan, if you have one, which we all should, how you get those two to mold together. If you've got a better strategy than the one that I'm talking about here, I'd love to hear about it down below. And yeah, hopefully everyone else is having a great week from their investing. Love to hear from you guys. Leave your comments down below. And just before I wrap up, one more thing to put onto the dollar cost averaging, especially if you are, or like myself, wanting just to tailor that dollar cost averaging just a little bit at those times where you think it's going too hard, pushing up too high, and you think you want to hold out just a little bit until you put your dollar cost averaging in. So instead of on Tuesdays like I've done, maybe do it on Wednesday or 12 hours later or something like that. It's quite difficult, but early on in that plan, so we've established that a bottom is around 3,100. Even if it's a temporary bottom, it's a pretty big bottom of Bitcoin. Try and go heavy first thing. So if you were in dollar cost averaging in around the 36 or 3,800 or 4 grand, try and go heavier at that point. So say you've got an allocation of 10 grand, or over the course of a year or a month, whatever it is, and you make money every week, you're making $1,000, and you want to put in 100, 200 bucks a week. Early on in the process, try and put more money in so that as the market starts to increase, you've built a bigger foundation. It's kind of, well, essentially is like pyramiding. When you look at a pyramid, bigger base, smaller top. You don't want to be putting in all of your money heavy at the upper end. So you don't want to be going in heavy now, like we're at 8,000 or 9,000 on Bitcoin, because we fall back to 6 or 7, you've lost a lot of that, of your investment. So that is one thing that I would suggest. It's one thing that I've tried to implement, and I'm by no means, getting that right on the bat, but it was something that I learned from the last cycle, where you start to feel like, oh, I'm going to miss out, the FOMO thing, and this thing could go a lot higher, so why not just put in a lot more now than I did earlier on? That is obviously not the right way to go about it from my experience, and I'm sure those who have been through the same cycles and have done similar mistakes, you'd probably agree on that too. That was the last thing I wanted to leave you guys with. Hopefully that has helped some of you. And like I said many times before, I'd love to hear your journey down below. I'm going to keep these up because this is going to be a long bull market, 2 years, 3 years, let's see how we go. So I'll check in with you guys again very shortly on another topic to do with investing. Doesn't necessarily have to be cryptocurrency either, but that seems to be the best way that I can see making money with the least amount of obstacles, aka government red tape, regulations, KYC, all these sorts of things. It's just in and out, charts are there, you learn your psychology and your emotional, you keep your emotions in check, get yourself a plan, and it's really easy to get flowing. Thanks again for joining me. I'll leave it there as I always do. Keep trying to wrap these things up. You know where to catch me. Instagram and Facebook links are down below. See you guys in the next video. And remember, until next time, take care, peace out, have more fun to get more done.